Hello everyone, welcome back to Ly Tu Huyen's channel. Today's story will leave you breathless as we witness how a ghost from the past returns with malicious intentions. What happens when Thuy, D's ex-wife, discovers an unconscious woman in his home and sees an opportunity for revenge? Will she succeed in destroying the peaceful life Day and Huyen have built together? Could D actually be arrested and handcuffed based on false accusations? Stay with us until the very end to discover Thuy's sinister plan and whether justice will prevail. This is a story that will shock you. The afternoon sun cast long golden shadows across the small mountain house where Day, Huyen, and Maya had created their sanctuary of love and peace. Inside, Lan was resting comfortably, her injuries healing well under Huyen's attentive care. The woman had been with them for 2 days now, growing stronger each hour, though she still needed rest before she could safely return to her own village. Her family had visited that morning, bringing more gifts and gratitude, promising to return in a few days when Lan was strong enough to make the journey home. Day was outside, tending to the vegetable garden, his hands working the rich mountain soil with practiced ease. The garden was thriving under his care, producing the fresh vegetables that sustained their family through the seasons. Huyen was beside him, pulling weeds and humming softly to herself, a sound that always made Day's heart feel full. Maya played nearby, building elaborate houses from sticks and leaves, her imagination painting grand palaces where simple structures stood. It was a picture of perfect domestic harmony, the kind of scene that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago, when both Day and Huyen had been trapped in their separate struggles and sorrows. Now, working side by side in the warm afternoon light, they embodied everything that was good about second chances and the healing power of genuine love. Neither of them noticed the figure watching from the tree line. Thuy stood partially hidden behind a large pine, her eyes fixed on the scene before her with an expression that mixed curiosity, bitterness, and something darker. She had been passing through the area on her way to visit a friend in a neighboring village when she had recognized the path leading to what used to be Dee's home. The home they had briefly shared before she had abandoned him for what she thought would be a better life. That decision had not worked out as she had planned. The wealthy man she had left before had turned out to be not quite as wealthy as he had claimed, and certainly not as kind or reliable as Day had been. Within a year, he had moved on to another woman, leaving Thuy with nothing but regrets and resentment. She had heard through village gossip that Day had taken in a woman with a child, that he seemed happy, that he had built a good life. The news had filled her with a jealousy she couldn't explain or control. Now, seeing him here, looking content and peaceful, something twisted inside her chest. How dare he be happy without her? How dare he move on so completely when she was still struggling? Thuy moved closer, staying in the shadows, her eyes scanning the property. That's when she saw it. Through the open window of the house, she could see a woman lying on the bed. The woman appeared to be unconscious, her face pale, her body completely still. Thuy's mind began racing with possibilities. None of them good, all of them filtered through her own bitter perspective. She didn't see an injured person being cared for. She saw an opportunity to cause trouble for Day, to disrupt this peaceful life he had built, to remind him that she still existed and could still impact his world. In her twisted logic, if she couldn't be happy, why should he be? She watched for several more minutes, noting that Dee and the woman she assumed was his new wife were both outside, completely unaware that anyone was observing their property. The unconscious woman inside appeared to be alone, vulnerable, and in distress. To anyone who didn't know the full story, it could look very suspicious indeed. Thuy felt a dark smile spread across her face as a plan began forming in her mind. Without announcing her presence, Without seeking any explanation for what she was seeing, Thuy quietly retreated down the mountain path. Her steps were quick and purposeful as she made her way toward the town where the police station stood. With each step, she refined her story, adding details that would make it more believable, more damning. By the time she reached the station, she had convinced herself that what she was about to do was justified, even righteous. The police station was a small brick building at the edge of town, manned by 2 officers who took their duty seriously, despite the generally peaceful nature of the mountain communities they served. Thuy burst through the door, her face arranged in an expression of shock and concern that would have been convincing to anyone who didn't know her true character. "Please, you have to help," she cried out, her voice trembling with false urgency. "There's a woman, she's unconscious. I think she's been hurt badly. Maybe kidnapped. You had to come right away." The 2 officers, Officer Min and Officer Tuan, immediately stood at attention. Officer Min, the senior of the 2, grabbed his notebook. "Slow down, miss. Tell us exactly what you saw." Thuy launched into her fabricated story, weaving truth and lies together with practiced ease. "I was walking past my ex-husband's house up in the mountains. I saw through the window. There's a woman lying on the bed. She looks unconscious. Her clothes are torn and dirty. She's not moving at all. My ex-husband, he lives alone up there, very isolated. I'm worried about what might have happened to her." Officer Tuan frowned. "Your ex-husband? What's his name?" "His name is Day," Thuy said, letting just a hint of reluctance creep into her voice, as if she was torn between loyalty to a former spouse and concern for a potential victim. "We divorced years ago. He's always been a bit strange, living up there all alone in the mountains. I never thought he would do something like this. But seeing that poor woman," she let her voice trail off suggestively, allowing the officers to fill in the blanks with their own assumptions. Officer Min and Officer Tuan exchanged glances. Any report involving an unconscious person had to be taken seriously, regardless of how reliable the source seemed. "We'll need you to show us exactly where this is," Officer Min said firmly. "Can you lead us there?" "Of course," Thuy said, her eyes shining with a false concern and real malice. "We should hurry. That poor woman might need medical attention." As they walked up the mountain path, Thuy continued to plant seeds of suspicion. "Day was always so quiet, you know. After I left him, I heard he became even more reclusive. I never imagined he could be dangerous. But you hear stories, don't you? About men who live alone in isolated places, who become unstable." Officer Tuan was young and relatively inexperienced. He found himself nodding along, his hand unconsciously moving to rest on his handcuffs. Officer Min, however, was more seasoned and cautious. Something about the ex-wife's eagerness to condemn struck him as odd, but he kept his observations to himself for now. They would assess the situation with their own eyes. "Has this D ever been in trouble with the law before?" Officer Min asked. "Not that I know of," Thuy admitted reluctantly. "But then again, who knows what someone is capable of when they're desperate and alone?" She was careful not to make any direct accusations that could be proven false, instead letting insinuation do the work for her. As they climbed higher, getting closer to the house, Thuy felt her heart racing with anticipation. She imagined Day's face when he saw the police, imagined his shock and fear, imagined his perfect little life falling apart. The thought filled her with a satisfaction that briefly overshadowed the emptiness of her own existence. They crested the final hill, and the house came into view. Day and Huyen were still in the garden, though they had moved to a different section now. Maya was chasing a butterfly, her laughter carrying on the mountain breeze. It was such a peaceful, innocent scene that even Officer Tuan felt his initial suspicions beginning to waver. But they had a duty to investigate. "That's him!" Thuy said, pointing at Dae. "That's my ex-husband, and that woman must be whoever he's living with now. But the unconscious woman is inside, on the bed. I saw her through the window," Officer Min called out in his official capacity. "Excuse me, police! We need to speak with you." Dee's head snapped up, his expression shifting from contentment to confusion in an instant. He set down his gardening tools and walked toward the officers, Huyen close behind him. His mind was racing, trying to understand why the police would be at his home. Had something happened in the village? Was there some kind of emergency? Then he saw Thuy standing behind the officers, and his blood ran cold. He hadn't seen his ex-wife in over 3 years, not since she had walked out of his life without a backward glance. The malicious gleam in her eyes told him everything he needed to know. Whatever was happening, she was behind it. "Officers," Dae said calmly, though his heart was pounding. "How can I help you?" Officer Min consulted his notebook. "Are you Da? We've received a report that there's an unconscious woman in your home, possibly in distress. We need to investigate." For a moment, Dae was too stunned to respond. Then understanding dawned. Lan. They thought he had hurt Lan. He opened his mouth to explain, but Thuy cut in smoothly. "I saw her through the window, Dae. I saw that woman lying there unconscious. What have you done? I never thought you would be capable of something like this, but I had to report it. I couldn't just walk away if someone was in danger." Her performance was Oscar-worthy, her voice filled with concerned reluctance. But Dae could see the triumph lurking beneath the facade. Huyen stepped forward, her voice steady, despite her rising anger at seeing the woman who had abandoned the man she loved. "That woman is Lan, from the neighboring village," Huyen explained clearly. "She fell down a ravine 2 days ago while foraging. Dee found her and brought her here because she was badly injured. We've been caring for her until she's strong enough to return to her family. Her husband and the village elders know she's here. They visited just this morning." Thuy's smile faltered slightly, but she recovered quickly. "That's a convenient story. But how do we really know what happened? This woman is unconscious, possibly drugged. She could have been held here against her will. You can't just take their word for it, officers. You have to investigate properly." Officer Tuan was about to respond when a weak voice came from the doorway of the house. "What's all this noise? I'm trying to rest." Everyone turned to see Lan standing in the doorway, supported by the doorframe. She was pale and obviously still weak, but very much conscious and alert. Her eyes widened as she took in the scene, the police officers, the crowd gathered in the yard. "What's going on?" she asked, confusion clear in her voice. Officer Min stepped forward. "Miss, are you all right? We received a report that you were unconscious and possibly in danger." Lan looked even more confused. "Unconscious? No, I was sleeping. I'm recovering from injuries I sustained when I fell into a ravine several days ago. This man, Dee, he saved my life. He found me when I was calling for help, carried me back here, and he and his wife have been taking care of me ever since." She gestured weakly at her bandaged arm and the binding around her ribs. "I would have died out there, if not for them." The color was draining from Thuy's face as she realized her plan was falling apart. "But I saw you lying so still. I thought—" "You thought you could cause trouble for your ex-husband," Officer Min said, his voice taking on a stern tone as the full picture became clear to him. "Miss Thuy, making a false report to the police is a serious offense. You've wasted our time and resources, and you've caused distress to these good people who were simply helping someone in need." Lan, despite her weakness, was piecing together what had happened. "You're his ex-wife. You saw me resting and thought you could get him in trouble? What kind of person does that?" Thuy's face flushed red, a mixture of embarrassment and rage. "I thought something was wrong. I was trying to help." "No," Huyen said quietly but firmly. "You were trying to hurt Dae, because you're bitter about the choices you made. You left him, Thuy. You chose someone else because Dee wasn't wealthy enough for you. You don't get to come back now and try to destroy the life he's built. Officer Min turned to Dee. Sir, I apologize for this intrusion. It's clear that no crime has been committed here. In fact, you've done an admirable thing by helping this woman. He turned back to Thuy. As for you, consider this an official warning. Making false reports is a criminal offense. If you ever waste police time again with malicious lies, you will face charges. Do you understand? Thuy nodded stiffly, her jaw clenched tight with suppressed fury. But as she looked at Dae standing there with his new family, with the woman he had saved, with the life he had built without her, something dark and desperate flickered in her eyes. Fine, she said through gritted teeth. I understand. But as she turned to leave, she paused and looked back at Dae and Huyen. Her voice dropped to a near whisper that somehow still carried to everyone present. This isn't over. You think you're so happy, so perfect. But everyone has secrets. Everyone makes mistakes. I'll find yours. With that veiled threat hanging in the air, Thuy stalked down the mountain path, her back rigid with barely contained rage. Officer Tuan started to go after her, but Officer Min stopped him. Let her go. We'll keep an eye on her, but for now she's just bitter and making empty threats. After the officers had taken statements and departed with apologies, Dae and Huyen stood in their yard, their arms around each other, watching the sun begin its descent toward the horizon. Maya had been frightened by all the commotion, and Huyen held her close, whispering reassurances. Lan had retreated back inside to rest, shaken by the confrontation but grateful for her rescuer's protection. She'll come back, Huyen said quietly. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but she'll try something else. She's not going to let this go. Dee nodded slowly. I know, but we've done nothing wrong, Huyen. We've built our life on honesty and kindness. Whatever she tries, the truth will protect us. I hope you're right, Huyen whispered. But she couldn't shake the chill that had settled over her heart at Thuy's parting words. So our story today shows us that sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. It can return with vengeance in its heart, seeking to destroy the happiness we found. Thuy's attempt to frame Da failed because the truth was on his side, and because Lan was there to confirm his innocence. But her threat lingers like a dark cloud over this family's happiness. What will Thuy do next? What secrets is she determined to uncover? Thank you for joining us on this tense journey today. If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, please give it a like and share it with others. Subscribe to our channel because the next episode will reveal Thuy's next move and whether Dae and Huyen's peaceful life can survive her vendetta. Your support means everything to us. We'll see you in the next video, where the drama continues and new challenges await this family. Until then, remember that truth and love are powerful protectors, but sometimes they must be defended. Goodbye for now. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss what happens next in this gripping story.